Mother, I just did like the greatest show imaginable. This is why I stick to coffee and not to wine. I did like the best show you can imagine. I was on a roll. I was just saying like these truths, like you were like, oh yeah, sing it, man. Word, word. Like if I had people around me, they'd be doing word, word all the time, doing like these little snaps and things. I mean, you know, it's not like the intrusive clap. It's more like the, when people are really feeling like, yeah, that's right, word. I had this amazing show, and the problem of doing it with a couple of glasses of wine, I didn't hit the record button. And here I am, sitting in this room, enjoying my Titanic wine, and I didn't hit the record button. It pisses me off. I was just like improvising, it was freestyle. I had like this great thing on like, you should have no idols, how I was gonna name my hypothetical gender fluid firstborn male son, Blixa. Of all the directions this channel could take, one of them could be wine reviews, because I mean, I'm trying it right now. It was all good except for the forgetting to hit the record button, which is still like, it's eating away at me. It's like, mother. You ever get just so pissed off at like doing something so idiotic? Maybe that's the beauty. It's like the secret thing that nobody will ever have access to. It's like this beautiful poetic tirade, like this, and now it's just lost in the ether. Maybe that's the way it was meant to be. I'll try to recap a bit, just for the fans, all 5 of you. This wine, I was gonna drink it, but it was kind of a pricey bottle, so I opted instead for this kind of cheap Italian knockoff. I realized that I lacked the vocabulary to aptly describe what is going on in my mouth due to the fine bouquet of this nicely distilled, brewed wine. I know that's not how wine is made. So if you'd like reading with Robin to become a bit more like drinking with Robin, I could potentially take an internet expedited sommelier class, like many friends and people that I know have, and become a so-called wine expert, and then have all the appropriate vocabulary to describe what's going on in the mouth when you swish it around and spit it. I mean, I guess you can swallow it potentially. Then the show would be using a lot more eloquent and pretentious words like tannic. It's quite tannic. Tannic basically applies to any red wine, except for Beaujolais. Beaujolais is like this kind of wimpy, sweet, it's almost like a rosé, but not really. It's like a, don't do the Beaujolais, nobody's impressed by this. Don't do the Beaujolais. Do a nice Cahors, that's a nice manly tannic. Yeah, tannic, a word that you don't use for any other reason in the English language, but when it comes to wine, it's like, ah yes, tannic. I think the only other case where people use tannic would be in the Titanic, which sank, so I have nothing against people who are wine experts. I will very gladly take your advice. For example, I mean, I've commented on this on the social media for you, like this little pagan symbol. It's a collective. I'm gonna say women and men from this glorious country, Quebec, where I live. Yes, I said it, country. This collective, this co-op of women and men and people, when I go to the liquor store, which is government run here, I just look for this, the sign that reassures me that it will be good. It is in a way the Apple Mac of wine. You don't want to think about it too much, you don't want to know any kind of fancy code, you're not going to fuck with Linux, you just want a nice shiny package that you know has quality. Maybe a bit overpriced, but quality in the end. And people say, but yeah, you know, you could get a box of wine of this at Costco and it's just as good, and blah, blah. You do get what you pay for in the end. So yeah, I highly recommend this thing, which, I mean, it's brilliant marketing because who the fuck knows what their name is. Looks like Einstürzen Neubauten. Einstürzen Neubauten, import-export, well, actually import, of fine dining wines, both red and white. And instead opted for this more plebeian priced, working class priced Dogagiolo, a nice fine Italian red, also quite tannic. Yes, the tans in it. On every new thing there lies already the shadow of annihilation. For the history of every individual, of every social order, indeed of the whole world, does not describe an ever-widening, more and more wonderful arc, but rather follows a course which, once the meridian is reached, leads without fail down into the dark. Knowledge of that descent into the dark is inseparable from his belief in the day of resurrection, when, as in a theater, the last revolutions are ended and the actors appear once more on stage to complete and make up the catastrophe of this great piece. As a doctor who saw disease growing and raging in bodies. He understood mortality better than the flowering of life. To him it seems a miracle that the world should last so much as a single day. There is no antidote, he writes, against the opium of time. The winter sun shows how soon the light fades from ash, how soon night enfolds us. Hour upon hour is added to the sum. Time itself grows old. Pyramids, arches, and obelisks are melting pillars of snow. Not even those who have found a place amidst the heavenly constellations have perpetuated their names. Nimrod is lost in Orion, and Osiris in the dog star. Indeed, old families last not 3 oaks. To set one's name to a work gives no one a title to be remembered. For who knows how many of the best of men have gone without a trace. The inquiry of oblivion blindly scatters her poppy seed, and when wretchedness falls upon us, one summer's day like snow, all we wish for is to be forgotten. So welcome to Drinking with Robin.